Hey guys, what's going on? So here we are today at the Edge Fitness Clubs in Stratford, Connecticut, and today is Melvin's leg day. Now, as you can see, Melvin has one leg, one of them is a prosthesis, and we are still squatting, right? Now, although the prosthesis messes up a little bit of his movements, we've been really working on finalizing and getting his squat to a rather perfected movement because in my humble opinion, I really honestly believe that Melvin can achieve a nice squat with neutral spine and proper mechanics so long as we continue to work on it. Now, if you notice, the foot comes off on that left side, or which is his right side, because the knee in relation to his real knee on the left side is actually, they're completely different lengths. So it does throw his hip alignment off a little when he squats, although we've been working pretty well at keeping core stability, glute stability, and all of that in order to the point where we can actually keep a nice and straight pelvis throughout the whole entire movement. And so far it's coming along pretty well. As you can see, I slowed this one down here so you can see that he's actually starting to get a pretty good amount of glute drive. However, as you can see also, the knee does knock around a little bit. It comes in and out and wavers a bit because he's still getting used to stabilizing through his glutes. He's still getting used to getting out of that pronated, flat-footed position because I've been trying to focus on getting rid of his calf tension, his quad tension quite a bit so that his glutes can get a little bit more tension in order to stabilize from the hip rather than trying to constantly move around and wager from the knee. Now the one thing here is I'm going to slow this clip down just so you could see it. As he comes down, his lower back lengthens a little, and that's something that you might not catch, but that's why I also slow it down for you. And when he comes up, watch what his lower back does. There's nothing that he's done wrong, it's just this is what's happening with his current mechanics. So if you really look, his lower back is currently tweaking a little bit in order to help out with the situation. Now that's just caused by a slight imbalance of less glute drive and more knee drive. So we're gonna have to work on getting his hip extension a little bit better, which he didn't do too bad here, but at the end he still gets that overextension of the lower back and a lack of extension through the hip. So we've been working predominantly on taking the tension off of his quads and his hips and putting the tension back into his glutes, because if he doesn't have this right glute drive, he won't be able to stabilize his core and brace the lower portion of his abdomen in order to keep him nice and neutral so he doesn't move his spine around, so that way he doesn't hurt himself. Now with this, we are doing single leg, and we will be doing single leg on the other side as well. Even though there is a prosthesis there, he does have a glute, so I honor that and I want him to keep himself in check in the sense that I want everything to be nice and even, right? I don't want the pelvis to be pulled towards one side or to the other because the glute's weaker on one side than it is the other. So we'll do accessory work like this in order to make sure that he's actually getting himself equalized out. Now we're adding a slight rotation, hip rotation, to open up the frontward portion of the hips, tighten down the lower portion of the abs, and really get a tight contraction of the glutes. That way he has a good idea of what his top lockout should be on his squat. So he's got a braced stomach, tight glutes, and an extended leg, right? And that's what's gonna happen when you get his squat a little bit better. However, for the meantime, that's why we work on things like this. And for those of you who do experience knee pain or even back pain when you're squatting, these are some of the things that I would actually advise you to do as well, because what I'm doing for Melvin is essentially just getting rid of his overexertion through his back and through his quad and his hip, right? We're taking that out, giving it to his glute like I had said before, and also stabilizing through his abdomen, his core. So these are some great exercises that we've been working on with him, and they're still fairly new to him in the sense of movement patterns because generally speaking, he's 31 years old, right? So he's already ingrained a certain type of movement from moving this long the way he has. So we're essentially erasing a lot of movement patterns that he had already previously known from those 31 years of living and trying to reconfigure the way his body leverages so that way we can get rid of pains and aches. Because I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Melvin does experience some aches and pains in his back, specifically the midline to lower back region. And what that is primarily caused by is just a really insane amount of hip flexor tension and quad tension. We did the other day actually, we did some mobility, and I got rid of a lot of quad tension, and he noticed a remarkable amount of difference in how his back felt the day of and the day after. It was just like a night and day kind of turn off the light switch kind of thing. So always remember, guys, it could be the very same thing for you. You can have an abundance of quad tension, which is pulling you off balance and tightening up your lower back. You might not necessarily have a bad back. You could just really have tight hips and tight quads, which leads to your glutes being weak. So things like this that we're doing with Melvin are going to be the things that are going to make or break his physique. First off, by having an equal tension and being able to kind of sculpt himself evenly without having certain muscle on each side being more defined than the other. And this is just going to overall improve his functionality, right? Because if he can move better, then he can perform better, which means he can lift heavier and keep himself together better, which is overall better for longevity's sake and also just for sensation. Like, you don't want to hurt. So with that being said, here's that prosthesis. As you can see, he doesn't get the same height on this one as he does on the other. However, he did actually, we did another set after this one, and he did actually get a pretty good hip extension on that last set. However, here we are. We're just ending out with two simple things. Right here is just a hamstring curl with a control at the bottom. So I just want him to bring it in, hold it tight, don't let it go, and then control it out to just bring it right back in. No loss of time on the end. It's constant time under tension. That way he's just stressing the muscle out and kind of just finishing it out the way that we want to. This is just going to promote better leg development, and also it's just going to give him more control with keeping contractions. So that's what we've been doing for the hamstrings, and we're going to be doing the same exact thing for the leg extension, which you will see shortly. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, honestly, Melvin's doing a great job with his squats. I give him a lot of credit from where he used to be. I really wish we had recorded his old squat videos and stuff like that, but we hadn't, because we were really working on perfecting it before we ended up doing any of this stuff and ever thought of the idea of putting him up on the spotlight like this. But here we are, killing it every day, making sure that we get him further and further every day we go. And now we've got a thing where we're going to different sports clubs or fitness facilities every week. So you'll be seeing these videos more frequently. That's pretty much it, guys. Honestly, if you get the chance to see this video, share it with somebody you know. And as always, take it easy.